Hello and welcome to my home studio. My name's John Gooden, I'm a UFC commentator, but I have plus 10 years as a tradesman before I made the jump to broadcasting. And this is my new look studio. You are here to see the wall. So in this video, I go step by step in how I constructed this wall, how I planned it, what it cost, and the lessons that I learned as well. Before we go much further, and anytime you get out the tools, you've got to adhere to safety, so make sure you have your PPE, your personal protective equipment. You don't want any accidents when you do this, and there are quite a few hazards when you're using things like saws and the dust and the sharp blade. And of course, when you're firing nails into a wall, turn off electrics and all of that good stuff. So let's get into it then. This is how I got this wall done in a weekend. So I guess this is the final look at the back wall as it is. I didn't have the desk there before, I've already started moving things around, but this is about to be transformed and I am going to dismantle it right now. Morning, it's bright and early, about 7:15, and we're already getting set up to get this wall clad with the pallet wood. Plenty more of that outside as well. I am racing the clock this weekend. My wife will be out for most of today, but I underestimated how much went into the prep. The wood that I got, I thought was already prepared, but it's not. So I've got to sand all of that down. But first, before I do anything with this wall, I need to paint it a dark color. I've got some black, it's an exterior paint. I hope that dries as quickly as interior paint. I need everything to go my way today because the pallet wood's so uneven that if there's any gaps, especially on this white wall, it's gonna look a little rubbish. So that's the first task of the day. So I have to sheet up and get the paintbrush out and get that done. It will be rough and ready, but after that it will be down to sanding down all of the wood outside in the rain. I've got a little setup for that, hence you see the waterproofs. I better stop talking and just get on with it. Right, so I've cleaned up the wall, but before we put black all over it, I need to mark out the stud work, the structural timber, because I'm not going to build this wall out any more than I need to. They just don't have the depth in here. So I'm going to try and fire through the pallet board into the structural support. So I'm going to tape where that timber is on the ceiling and floor, and then afterwards I'll probably drop a chalk line in, and that will give me an indication of where I can fix to. So that's the next step. Right, so we're marked up crudely, and now it's just about slopping some black paint onto the wall so that we don't see bright bits of white between the gaps on the cladding. Right, it's 8:25 and I have literally just slopped the black paint onto the wall. You'll see that I did go into the edges because I feel like with the overlapping of the boards, you're going to see it there. Right now, however, I've got to select the wood, lay it out, sand it down, and wait for the nail gun to come in from the hire shop, and then we can start pinning onto here. But I've got about an hour and a half before the wife goes out, so let's make some progress. All right, so it's creeping up on 1:30. I've just put the small down. I'm praying that she actually naps because I think we've got an hour and a half of dry weather where I can get outside and do stuff, providing she's okay. The wife is out. I've been in full frozen mode. But now it's time to get out of the civvies, back into the work gear. Juggle is real. Okay, we're inside. It's about 20 to 6 and I am sick of preparing the wood. We've still got another 3 square meters left to play with, but I wanted to get started. I've only got the nail gun for the weekend and it is Saturday night already. So whilst I was preparing the wood, it dawned on me that this is not that easy in terms of how you throw it up. Quite literally, you can't just throw it up because all the boards are different sizes. And then how creative do you want to be as well? So I've separated out like my character boards, if you like, and then these other ones that we have on the floor are fairly plain. I'm going to go and look at those again and see which ones have a little bit more. So I'm going to have 3 piles, and then I'm going to try and lay them out in sections. I just don't have enough space to be able to lay the whole thing out and then just transfer that onto the wall. So yeah, next step is organising the wood. I think I'm probably going to need to get the saw out and things of that nature, but my neighbours will hate me if I start doing that on Saturday night. I'll have to do it on a Sunday for them. So yeah, this is going fairly well. Let's see how this next bit goes. This is the tricky bit, getting this all on the wall and fitted up. Oh, and I've had to just go to Screwfix and buy some glue. And the nail gun came without the nails, which I had previously ordered. So, look, minor setbacks. But now it's time to the exciting bit, the creative bit, but also the challenging bit. Change of plan, because the wood mainly comes in, let's say, 4 sizes. I've created piles and I'm going to keep the lines the same height. Rather than chopping it and changing it and making it like a piece of art, I'm going to make it a bit easier for myself and therefore run the same width, same line across the width, and having these in piles is going to help that. Proper peed off. I've got a weekend with this PAS load. I was going to get going and do some tonight, get a head start, get it all marked out, and Screwfix have given me angled brads for the straight gun. I ordered straight, they've given me angled. And now it's closed and they don't open until 9 o'clock tomorrow. Oh, can't believe my luck. Well, I guess that means I'm not doing this tonight. The challenges of DIY. A little side note for you. So I just got reminded through this 48 hour period just how much of a middleman you are as a tradesman, and that was something that I really didn't enjoy. So I ordered the nail gun from HSS and I knew that I needed the brads for it. So I ordered the brads from HSS. HSS had a problem with the delivery or even the stock of the nail gun. I was supposed to go and collect that from Watford, which is near to where I live. And everything was on target for me to pick that up on Friday morning. Then I get a call saying that they don't have it and they can only give me a first fix gun, which would have been too powerful. But she said she could procure me one which would be delivered on Saturday, which she did. So, but I'm a day down on where I wanted to start. And then on Saturday, when the gun was delivered, it didn't come with any of the nails. So now I'm day 1 into my weekend of hire. So now I have to go and get the nails. So I then order from Screwfix, which is nearby. There are a couple of other bits that I needed as well, and no dramas particularly at this point, but it would have been nice to have had everything on Friday. And so I pick everything up from Screwfix. I come home, and last night, as you guys saw, I went to start putting the wood on the walls, and I was given angled brads, not straight brads. It's a straight brad gun. So now I've lost out on the hours that I was going to put in last night, which was a frustration. So then I go back this morning to take back said nails, and the lady then goes on to tell me that they don't have any straight nails. And I nearly lost my mind, because the gun's being picked up on Monday. I might be able to push that to Tuesday. I will have a conversation with them about that. And then, so it would have been, I think it cost me £100 to hire the nail gun. And now I haven't used it because no one can get there together. And I'm doing all the right things. I'm ordering stuff, it's in stock and all of these. It's just the stresses that you're faced with as a middleman from your suppliers of either hire equipment, which was rare, but then materials. And maybe I should have checked those nails before I left Screwfix, but yeah, I guess I'm not used to being in that frame of mind at the moment. So there you go, side note, on with the work. Oh, and by the way, that's snow. Wonderful, it's gonna get cold. Okay, not a bad effort. I've even started to sweat a little bit, but now we're getting down to some more tricky parts. Some of the wood that I've chosen, I hadn't prepared yesterday, so I'm going to concentrate on doing that rather than getting hot and cold every minute and a half. I'm going to go put some knee pads on as well and get ready to finish this off, but that's not a bad effort. Where are we? It's 20 to 11 in the morning, so yeah, it's probably what, an hour and a half's work or something. It's looking pretty cool, man. I'm pretty happy with this. Right, moving along. Gonna go indulge in about 3 Weetabix to give me the energy for the day. Okay, so we're back nearer my wheelhouse now, which is the electrical stuff. And I've got to cut the boards around this, and you can see here, what we're trying to achieve is to get it to meet the box. I mean, not too tight, but certainly not with this amount of gap. This used to drive me crazy when I was on the tools, because you would then have to sort of fill that in, and whenever you'd loosen the socket off, it would just break away. It used to drive me nuts. We have a little problem here in that the plasterboard actually overlaps the bottom of this. Then we have gaps on the sides and gaps on the top, which we'll remedy. But the way to do this properly is to get what's called a skeleton box. So you have another kind of hollow. You just get the outside parts, just the four corners with no back. And then you screw that through to these, and then that will bring everything forward, and we need that for fire regs. So I'm going to clean this up, open that out a little bit, because when I put that skeleton box in, it would then just tighten on the top, and you wouldn't be able to get that in. So you need to make some space, so that's what I'll do, and then I'll start cutting the wood around it. We need to get it tight as well, because these sockets, a lot of the time, they don't overlap by a lot. So if you leave a big old gap, then it's just going to push through. It's going to look horrid. Unless, of course, you wanted to put the socket in, but then that would be stupid, because then you wouldn't be able to plug anything in because the leads would foul. So you do have to bring them out to the front. time to clean up. So they've all turned out lovely, but now the existing furniture and decoration doesn't match. So it's either prepare some new ones, think about something else, or, as I've just experimented, put the sander over them and give them a new look. And I think that'll work. These are not going on here, they're going to go on the wall over there. But that gives me an idea of how they might match close enough. So I managed to repurpose the two shelves and brackets that I had before. I went on Amazon and I bought another couple of brackets which are very similar, just a little bit more of like an enamel colour. And I then cut up a scaffold board that was in the garden, had been in the garden for a long time, painted it, sanded it so that they look fairly similar, cut it the same size, added a couple of shelves, and that has completed the look. I think you'd agree this has turned out pretty well. Not only is this going to be a really effective backdrop for my TV work, because in these weird old times we're presenting shows from our own homes, so that looks a lot more professional, I think, than what I had before. Not that there was anything too wrong with what was there before this, but that looks way more cool. Also, I just think the room feels a lot more warm as well. Double bonus. Now, what lessons did I learn? So quite a few actually. I don't think you can underestimate the amount of prep time that goes into this. You may be procuring your pallet wood yourself, getting pallet wood in and breaking down those crates. Good luck to you. I ordered mine in off eBay. It was de-nailed, that is something to consider, but it wasn't sanded down. So I had to do that, and when you've got, I think there's probably about 11 to 12 square meters here. That's an awful lot of boards, planks that you've got to run the sander over, and you definitely need that sander. That is a key piece of equipment for what we've done here. In terms of the installation, have a think about how you want to lay the wood out. I didn't really give this much thought until the wood turned up, but I went with like a thin, thick arrangement. Some people I've seen will just start putting wood on the walls and then they're up for doing lots of cuts and scribing and things of that nature, which is cool, but then I don't know how easy it would be to try and figure out how much wood you've got left. So there's a lot to consider if you're going to do it that way. There was not a great deal of waste, and I think it still looks really cool. On to what it cost me then, and it was pretty reasonable. Obviously, doing this job myself, I saved a whole bunch on labour. I have a lot of tools as well, but you can get by with just a few tools. And I'll tell you what, I'll include the cost of the tools that I think you'll need and how much this would get to be an overall project cost. So I ordered 13 square meters of pallet wood from eBay, and I rounded it up and it came to £190. I went for another 2 shelves and I needed brackets for those shelves. They came to a grand total of £14. The scaffold board that I had recycled was £0. Also had some paint kicking around, which I then painted the board with and sanded that down. That was therefore nil in cost. But then we go on to the other bigger costs. In terms of getting the wood fixed onto the wall, I had to buy some brad nails and I had to hire the brad nailer. The nailer cost me £69. I think you might have heard me say it was £100 earlier in the video. That may have been a deposit, but the bottom line was £69. The brads cost me £24 eventually, no thanks to Screwfix. I also bought some wood glue, which was £11, and the skeleton boxes, which I needed 2 of, run in at a mighty £1.50 each. I also got some more discs. I was using 40, 60 and 80 grit discs, and I got those for £5. And the sander that you saw me use was by Erbauer. It's a 150mm Orbit sander. I already had that, but I invested £80 into that sander a couple of years ago, and it's served me very well indeed. That brings a grand total of £396, which I think is pretty reasonable for what we've got here, and the fact that you're going to be able to use that sander for projects going forward. I think that sander is great. The table that I have over here, I redid that, varnished the table, now it's good as new, and I believe you can use that sander as well, the Orbit disc part, for polishing cars. Yeah, don't put glass paper on there, that would be good. So there are many ways that you could use the sander. Going to be a super useful piece of kit if you're into DIY projects, recycling, upcycling, stuff like that. So that's the end of this video. As the kids say, smash the like button if you enjoyed this. I'd be very grateful for a follow as well. I have a new playlist for DIY projects. I've got a decking, a pergola that I've done. I just need to get editing on the old Mac. So much more coming in the way of DIY, etc. in the near future. I hope to see you soon in a future video. Thanks for watching.